What's up guys, Steve here. This video is all about auctions and how you can use them to grow your eBay store and the whole ideology around auctions and how you can use them to truly grow your store, understanding what they can do for your store and how they can benefit you as a seller. Before we go through this fully, and before we start, before I explain the whole auction process and why I use them and how you can use them and how everyone can use them, this doesn't just apply to trading cards. This is for all parts of eBay. It can be whatever you want. Some collectibles and some items on eBay aren't great for auctioning. You will know that more than me. If your item isn't a trading card, if your item isn't, some sort of collectible that sells a lot or like a modern thing that's like really popular, I do not recommend putting on auction. I always recommend, leave that buy it now, put best offer on and just slow roll that kind of stuff. But if you are into trading cards and you like stuff like that and you like money and you like to try and make money or you want to just get more money so you can buy more cards, perfectly fine. Let's get into this. Let me know how the audio is on this and let me know how you like the whole direction with this. I just picked up this bad boy. Love this. Whatever this is, this new whiteboard. So hopefully this works out well for this video. I'm super excited. And I'm still trying to get used to like making eye contact with the camera because you know how bizarre that is, like staring into the camera. I got lazy eyes too. It's hard. So before we get into this, all right, why would we do auctions? Okay, I want you to come up with some reasons too. Maybe pause the video and go write down a few things. Why would anyone want to do an auction theoretically? Cash. I already said it once. Cash, right? You want some money. Obviously, there is no realistic world where you put something on auction. This is the most popular, most reasonable thing to ever really auction off an item, a trading card, or like a collectible. It's like modern. Because 9 times out of 10, it's just going to go for a lower than buy it now price, which is pretty expected, right? So we are auctioning items off because we want more money, because we are reckless with our money. We spend too much and there's always deals around and we always want to buy stuff. I mean, I've been in situations where we might not be able to eat the next day because we bought too much stuff. So we need to resort to auctioning. So yeah, auction is pretty much you want to get as much cash in as possible, as fast as possible, because sometimes the allure of getting the next deal, the allure of getting the next purchase is worth sacrificing that short-term gain of the auction selling for lower than the buy it now price. So yeah, that's the first thing. That's the first thing, cash. All right, what are some other things? All right, let me see here. Oop. I want you to guess while I write this. Here you go. Market research. Geez, that is some terrible writing. I need some writing research. So what does market research mean? So pretty much, if you auction off items, let's say you own multiple of the same items, but you have one on buy it now and you have another one stored away and you're waiting for your buy it now to sell, you auction off the second copy. You can get some really great market research, something that like it's complete firsthand. There's no secondhand anything. It's just like, I sold this. I know exactly what price it sold for. I know that the buyer paid. You get the purest form of market research, which is like your own knowledge. It goes straight into your brain. You know what the item sold for. It is the most amazing thing that about auctions that a lot of people kind of like, it's in the back of their mind, but they don't realize just how good it is having that knowledge that you know what the item sells for. It might be less than the buy it now listings, or it might have sold a percentage less than other buy it nows, but you know just how liquid that item is. You know, if you auction it off, if it's a $20 item, you auction it off, you can get 14 within 7 days. Yeah, that's definitely a benefit to you. If you ever needed that quick $14 in the future and you times that by 100, that's 1400. If you have items that are all the same, you can make it a big volume thing. Now into volume selling. This is another awesome thing. Let me fix this right there. There we go. Volume selling. There it is in its glory. What does this mean? So pretty much auctions should never really be viewed as like one separate item. It's like whenever you do a big auction like I did, that I presented at the start of the video, I didn't get the 500 items together and be like, okay, once this ends, I'm going to go through every single item, dissect it. Oh, I only made $1 there, or I only made like $2 there. The idea, and I'll go really into depth in this at the end of the video, but the idea with the volume selling is just like you have 100 items, you paid $10 each. Let's just use an example. And it cost you $1,000. You sold them all the items sold for $1,500. There's no dissecting every single little sale here and there. You were just focusing on the total amount paid for everything and the total amount sold. There is no other important factor with auctions. And the last part of the why you would do auctions, well, this one, I actually made this up myself. No, I didn't make this up, but I don't actually think this is a real thing that anyone ever says, and it's process refinement. And this kind of means you kind of like really dial in on what you're doing. Because me, I run like a volume operation, right? I'm selling 1,000 items a month. I have to make sure I know the fastest way to ship things, the most efficient way to ship things, most efficient way to order packaging, the most efficient way to do everything, the listing, everything. Once you do auctions, it greatly scales up your operation, obviously, because you're not just going to auction off one item. This example I'm using right now in this video is auctioning off a large amount of items at the same time. Instead of selling like one of these plushes, it would be like if I sold only plush and I wanted to auction off 100 different plush, it would really like refine my processes in like listing the plush, and then when I'm packing and shipping plush, it would kind of remind me, hey, this guy bought 10 items, and make sure I have this amount of shipping materials on hand if I have to send 10 items to one person, and this guy bought 2, this guy bought 3, and this guy bought 4. It's just all these different things that process refinement really does reflect when it goes listing and shipping materials and everything else that comes with like running an eBay business. But it gets supercharged because you just pumped out 500 listings at once, and usually you only sell 100 a week or 200 a week, but 500 in one big hit. Now, this is just the example that I used. I did 500 in 1 week, but I would only normally sell like 250 items in a week. And to do 500 extra, I had to make sure I was on top of all my processes. And now, just because of auctions, I actually picked up a few tips and tricks along the way for myself to make sure that next time I do auctions, I can do them faster. And the next time I do my normal buy now listings, I can do them faster, et cetera, et cetera. It's really good process refinement. Another super important part of the why is the traffic that comes from the sales afterwards, not just the traffic during the sales, which is an amazing thing because auctions obviously get double, even 3 times the amount of views as like a normal buy now listing in the same period of time. Sometimes it's 10x the amount of views if you got a really popular card. But the traffic that comes afterwards, so eBay has this huge algorithm that's really, really confusing, and I don't even know everything about it. I know very little bits about it by learning from certain other YouTubers. Like Daily Refinement's a great one if you want to learn about the eBay algorithm. But what happens with auctions is you get like a huge, big bang amount of sales all at once. So if you sell like 100 cards at once or 500 items at once, it's like bang, 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 bang. And then people start paying and people start going crazy. And the algorithm's like, whoa, this guy's getting heaps of items paid for. He's really good. And then people keep paying for your items. And the algorithm's like, all right, people are buying stuff off this guy. Let's send him some more traffic. Let's put his other buy now items in front of people's faces. So whenever I do a huge auction, I always notice that I sell stuff for like the next day or the same day or right as people start paying from buy it nows that normally probably wouldn't sell in that current moment, but just because of the huge traffic boost. So you get the traffic, then eBay notices you, right? It's like a big thing. And then eBay notices you, you get more sales. More sales because the algorithm, and then the algorithm gives you all the way back to the start more traffic. And it's kind of like an infinite loop until you kind of calm down, you stop making so many sales. But the first big part where it's just like all the sales come in from the auctions, it's huge for your buy it now listing. So that's another great thing about the auctions there. All right, so now we've covered the why part of the auctions. It's pretty much the most reasonable ideas of why you would ever want to do a large amount of auctions at once, because you are foregoing future profits because you are selling your items faster, you're going to take less money for them, but there are lots of other benefits that come with mass auctioning. So what should we go into next? What should I think? Oh, let's do what? Oh, I wrote a lot of text there. Right. So we got what? What are we doing this for? Obviously, we want new items. So write that down here. We want to buy new stuff. Now, I strongly do not recommend. I strongly do not recommend. It sounds like I said donut, right? I don't recommend mass auctioning things without a goal in mind. The best thing with auctions is you can do them whenever you want. You don't have to do them. So there's a recent set that came out. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to auction off a whole bunch of stuff that might have been sitting for a little bit longer, or I got multiple items. I have a bunch of extra. I'm just going to auction off, get that money back, and put it into this next new popular thing that just came out. And that is my reasoning behind it. There are tons of other reasons. Maybe there's a once-in-a-lifetime collection item, or maybe there's a crazy thing that happened in your life and you need to take advantage of it. Or maybe this is a bit more dark, but maybe you really need to have health issues, or something where you just need a very large cash influx. That obviously is the what. What are you getting out of it? But for this example, new items is the idea. And what else do you get from mass auctioning something like this? Because mass auctioning isn't just for like the big stores, like maybe like someone like me or Other stores, they sell 100 items a week. You can utilize this. If you only sell 1 item a week and you put 10 items on auction, I mean, that's 10 times your weekly sales. So what do we get out of selling things? What's a few things? What's a really important thing to your eBay store that some buyers really want? They want you to get feedback. They want you to have a high feedback amount when they're buying off you. You know, when I was selling it 50 feedback, 40 feedback a long time ago, I probably couldn't have listed like a $500 item, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 item and it sell very, very fast to a buyer who trusts the store and they're not going to think anything different, or maybe they might actually not even think I own that item at all. So obviously feedback is quite important to an eBay store. So mass auctioning does get you feedback, because what I do when I do big auctions, afterwards when people pay for the items, I send a follow-up message, and we'll get into a few other things that do increase the feedback later on in the video, but follow-up message is great. Instantly shipping out the items is the best thing you can possibly do. It is just like an amazing what just selling more items can do for your store, even if they're very, very close to break even. The benefits now might not seem like this amazing thing, but over time it will compound. People will buy off you more because they've done business with you before. They picked up an item from you they normally wouldn't have bought. They see how you pack and ship things. They see how you take care of the items when you send them. And then they're going to result in leaving good feedback and then checking your store in the future for a buy now listing where maybe you can make a little bit more money off. Now, there's not too much for the what anymore, but if you have any other things of what you might get out of doing a mass auction, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have any other ideas or things that will benefit people, something I missed, or maybe something I didn't touch on as much, put them in the comments, because that's what it's all about, right? It's all about everyone teaching everyone learning together. That's really, it's kind of the main thing I'm going for here. Because otherwise, I'm just a dude screaming at a camera. Okay, I don't want to do that, because when I come close, I can see myself. Oh, that's weird. All right, let's get on to the next one. Let's go who. Now, I did just touch on a whole bunch of the reasons of the who, but obviously the who is what? It is your customers. So like I mentioned, with the feedback and everything that just comes with it, you do, after the auctions, you instantly ship that stuff out. You don't let someone win something on auction. You never even know. Some of these people that win stuff on auction, they bid on it like 5 days ago. They bid on it like 7 days ago. They bid on it 10 days ago. And they win it. And they think, oh crap, on my eBay notification. It's hard to explain, because like you win something on auction, you're on your phone, you go, oh, on my phone, I want something on auction. Oh, I'm going to pay for this. If they see within the next like 10 hours, 24 hours, or the next day even, somewhere in a really short time period where it goes, oh, item sent. It's a much bigger impact than them just going, oh, I really want to buy that item, buy it now. And then it's like, okay, they'll sell it, we'll send it. Obviously, they're a business, everything like that. They'll send it when they can, whatever it says on their thing. But with auctions, it's a little bit more personal, because they invested their time in you. You invested the time of the item, and then you ship it out the next day. Sometimes I like to do with this is I end my auctions on Saturday, so I can make sure I have all of Sunday to prepare the auctions and ship them. And then I go first thing to the post office. I go there at 9 or 10 a.m. so I can get on the first postage run of the day. That will mean it will be the fastest shipping possible for the person. There's no other way that the person can get it shipped any faster, because I got that 1 day leeway with the Sunday being like sort of like a non-business day. So they're not thinking in their head, oh, it's only been 1 day because Sunday's a business day, but I ship it first thing Monday morning, and they love me for it. And then they come back to my store. All right, let's touch on the how a little bit. This is the really tricky one. I think my examples that I'm going to give for the how will be trading card game examples. So if you do sell things that aren't trading cards, I'm not 100% sure. If you message me, if you comment, I can try my best to help you out. But this is trading card examples that I'm going to be using for the how section. I just want you to think to yourself, really, because this is a learning experiment. This is never a, I'm just going to tell you exactly what to do kind of thing, because I want you guys to go into like huge motherfucking eBay stores. I want you to be better than me. I want you to be the best of the best of the best. I want you to eclipse me, destroy me. I want to see you on top, 10,000 feedback, 20,000 feedback. You know what I mean? I actually, it really is. I'm super proud of anyone who ever tries to like learn something better, get something better at something. So it is impervious that you try to figure it out before I explain my own opinion, and then we can work together, and maybe you can give me an opinion that's even better than what I came up with. Sorry for swearing, by the way. That's pretty rude of me. All right, how? The most important part of how is the setup. And the setup is like, it's make or break when you're doing a large amount of auctions. So me, I did 542 items. So obviously that is a lot of items. And now my items aren't that big. If you've never seen a graded trading card, this is how big they are. So about, I don't know, that's Steve for scale, whatever that means. So 542 of these bad boys. It took up a decent amount of space. And the idea behind it is when you have an auction in mind that you want to put up and you want to make a big, huge spectacle about it, you want to keep all the auction items in a separate area of your inventory. You don't want to let them get mixed up with buy it nows. You don't want to have them like stored away in photos and like hard drives and then you list them and then you pull them out. In my experience, it's always best pull all the items you want to put on auction together. Wait up. I moved my side up. Need them for the video. Shit. Okay. All the items that you want to auction, you want to put her on the like a separate side of the inventory of your office or anywhere you're at having your items. You want to have your own dedicated. That's my auctions. That's where they're going. Put everything together. Photograph them all at the same time. So I do trading cards. I just did a front and back of each one. It's very easy for me with graded trading cards. You know, with non-graded trading cards or just items that don't have a grade assigned to them, it's a little bit harder. You have to do a few more photos together, which makes it even more important that you document them. If you have larger items that need to be like item tagged and then put in bags afterwards, I do recommend bagging everything and getting everything pre-set up to ship very easily. And that goes into my next point, supplies. This is super important. So obviously we'll write that down. Supplies. So we have, I don't even know if that's how you spell it, but so like I said, I sell 1,000 items a month on average, maybe 700 to 1,000, whatever it is. And I use a lot of shipping supplies. So at the moment, you know, just to the side of this video, I even have boxes ready-made, ready to go. So 500 items at once. That was a big deal, even for someone like me. That was a lot to deal with. So on top of my normal packaging supplies, if you normally send like 20 a week, you want to have, and you auction off another 100 items, you want to have at least 120 packages worth of items. Because sometimes some people, they don't buy multiple items and you're going to have one item sent to 120 different people and it's going to be a pretty big deal. So you want to make sure you have enough supplies for the auctions, your buy it now items for the week, and a little bit extra. You never want to have to like do some makeshift packaging. We've all done it when you've run out of shipping supplies and you're doing some boxes up and it's really, really bad. And you're like, damn, I hope this person doesn't leave me bad feedback for putting this scrunched up bubble wrap and weird wrapping paper and everything in the boxes. So make sure the supplies are on point. You have more than enough for your auctions, more than enough for your buy it nows. Setting up a big auction like this isn't an on the whim. It is a 2 to 3 week process that you set it up at the start, schedule the auctions, get all the supplies in, get it all ready to go, make sure it's all sorted. So as soon as the auction's finished, you can just sort them out and bang, 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 smash the packages out easily and not waste as much time as possible. And now we're into the last part of how we're at time. And I think time is super important. So this is everything that goes in towards a large auction. So I'm going to use my auction for the example in this one. So we have 500 items, 500 big ones. How long does it take to list an item, take your photos, put it away, and then get it ready to be prepared to be taken out once the item is actually sold? So we're not actually doing the packing and shipping part in the start of this, but all the things that come with like getting the item, taking the photos, doing the listing, and then putting it away afterwards. I think you could probably argue that 3 minutes per item. If you have items that, you know, you're like pretty confident when you've sold them a whole bunch before, you know how to list them, you know what they're called, you know the titles, and you have a pretty good photo taking regimen where it doesn't take very long. So we could probably go with 3 minutes here, and that's roughly 1,500. That leaves us with 25 of these. 25 what? 25 hours. That's a lot for 500 items. That's 25 hours worth of work. And you haven't even sold anything yet. You haven't done the packing, shipping. You have just done the listings and everything and scheduling and getting it ready to go. So we got 25 hours worth of work already put into this large auction. Then it gets to the items finally being sold. And you know, throughout the week, you have a little bit of extra work because you have to answer more messages. You got a lot more auctions. Auctions get way more eyes. They get way more messages. People are, hey, can I get an extra photo of this? Hey, what's up with this description? Hey, that says that in the title, but it doesn't really say that. So all these extra things you have to like answer and do these little things here and there, but they're important to do with the auctions to, you know, maintain trust with the customers and actually sell them to people who really want to buy them. So we got 25 hours, you know, 500 items, another 2 minutes, at very end, because once the items end, you got to pack them, you got to print the labels, you got to get it all ready. I have like my packaging set up when I do a big block of auctions, kind of like a Subway. It's like a Subway sandwich setup where I got like little bubble mailers, big bubble mailers, courier bags, boxes, little boxes, everything ready to go. And I'm like, I have 2-card order. I'm like, okay, 2-card order coming up. And I just pack it all up, put my shipping label on. I have 5 cards. Okay, that's a box. Put that in a box, bubble wrap around. You know what I mean? You have your own kind of rhythm going. So you make sure you have all your shipping supplies set up and put them on an area where you can get your items laid out nice and easily. Don't just have your shipping set up like you would normally and just have a little bit of bubble wrap over there, boxes over there, because you're gonna like, oh, get up, I need to go walk. It's about efficiency. Auctions only really make sense if you can do them fast and efficiently, so you can spend the time doing the actual profitable stuff. This is like I mentioned earlier in the video, where you have like auctions have all the benefits of like feedback, getting your money back, fast money, all of that stuff. Really good for like breaking even on a mass scale with like not great items, and you can use the money to buy great items. We're going really deep into this one, aren't we? So like I said, roughly 2 minutes in my experience. I can do 2 minutes per item for packaging. That's another like 15 hours or so. So all up, 5 plus 15, you've got 40 hours. I have to dedicate 40 hours of my time to this one big auction block, but obviously there are benefits to it, because like I just mentioned. So time management is like super, super key if you want to grow using an auction scale, because, you know, a lot of these things, we do realize it like in the back of our mind. We know we need to put time aside for auctions. We know it takes a long time to do the auctions, to do the listings, to do the packing, all this other stuff. But to really put it into like perspective, you got 40 hours just for 500 items. You know, that would be like almost like 8 hours for 100 items. You know, it doesn't sound as much. 4 hours for 50 items. It is still a long time to sell that many things, but you get them sold, and that is the important part of the auctions. This last part of this video, I'm just going to explain how you can use the auctions on a mass scale to really, really, really push it. And, you know, earlier I said you don't use the auctions as a per item basis. You know, you can gain value and ideas, and you get the market research from each item selling. But when you do auctions, you need to just think about them as one big mega selling big item. It's not just all these tiny little items together. You just got to think of it. You know, you really have to know your store and know what you're selling. So for my example, it's a little bit too big and it's a little bit too far-fetched, but I'm going to use a smaller example for this last one. You as a store, or me as a store, we have 100 items. They cost us $10 equals $1,000 worth of stock. So we have $1,000 worth of items that we've paid for. We know that the market price of all of them is roughly around $1,500 to $2,000. We're just going to use $1,500 for this one. So the market value is $1,500. So market value, and we got the cost. So the cost is 1,000, market value is 1,500. So obviously we paid 1,000, we sell them 1,500, we're making like 10 to 15% profit per item after all fees. That's really great. But there's a new release that just comes out that's all the way down here, and you're like, damn, I really want to get that new smiley face that's coming out, and that's going to cost me $1,100. How the hell do I get $1,100? Well, I really want to buy this new smiley face for $1,100. You can use the smiley face as an example for new inventory or anything else you want to buy. It's up to you to decide what is worth buying, but we got the $1,000 cost and the items are worth $1,500. Now we put them on auction. What do they sell for? Let's just use an estimated amount. The item sold for $1,100. Now let's work out what's shipping and fees and everything out of that. You know, we'll just minus 15%. That'll get us to around like $950, something like that. It's pretty bad. I mean, we lost $50. We paid $1,000 for the items, but the items weren't that great. You know, we realized, hey, they're not that fast of selling. We got all the research because, you know, you bought that item, you listed it for sale in the first place, or you might have multiple of them, and you realize it's not a great item. It stayed for a little bit too long in your store. I'm just going to auction it off. Okay, it did sell on auction. I did lose a little bit of money. You gained all these impervious, knowledgeable things. You're like, okay, that's a bad item to buy for the next time. Oh, but that item, the other item I bought is pretty good because it actually sold quite well on auction, a little bit close to the buy it now. So maybe next time I get that, I can auction it off. All these other amazing things that comes with auctions that is just, they're in our brain and we know them, but we're not like knowledgeably thinking about them because it's just a normal everyday in the life of an eBay seller, right? Like, you know it, I know it. We have hundreds of things that we sell and we know they're good things or we know they're bad things, but how often do we actually think about it and break it down? Now, obviously in this example, this is not really close to a real world example, but We got pretty close to needing the $1,100 for that new smiley face that we needed. We got $950, so we still have to come up with a little bit of money, but now we've also realized all these crazy things that came with spending that 1,000. We lost money. You know, I did auctions, 540 items. I can imagine almost 250 of those items I either broke even or I lost a few dollars. And you're probably thinking, Steve, what the hell? You're a pretty experienced seller. How can you buy now? You can still have items that you lost money on or you're breaking even on. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm still pumping. I'm still pushing. I'm still trying to push the limits of what's sellable, what's not sellable. We're all still learning. You know, I'm always the type of person to try something new and not just wait for someone else to try and do it. And that's great for people learning off me because they can see what I'm doing. They can try something new and then they can learn from it and they don't have to lose the money like I did. This looks pretty bad at the end of the day with the auction, but you got to remember, you lost $50, but you sold 100 items that were pretty much dead stock out of your inventory or maybe just a little bit unsellable. You gained all the feedback, you gained all the customer base, you gained all the relations, they know how fast you ship things out. Hey, maybe you sold an item that's actually sold for a little bit more than you had listed buy it now. It happens all the time with auctions. Auctions get more eyes, probably up to 80% more eyes than buy it now listings, to be honest. And I am a mainly buy it now store just because I like to manage the amount of things that I'm selling and not just like go crazy every single week because that is not very fun for me. But every once in a while, auctions are great and they do serve a purpose for eBay sellers. Now that pretty much sums up the video. You know, obviously this example, it isn't sexy. You're just looking at it and be like, hey, Steve, you're just losing money. I want to make money. Well, that is pretty much what running an online store is. You just lose money all the time and then you quit and then you give up. No, I'm just kidding. You will have great profitable sales with the proper market research, knowledge, taking a little bit more risk, obviously, than usual. Auctions are a really great support to that kind of model when you got some items you're not thinking that great, you just want to get rid of them because you actually want to spend the money, the $950, buying the cool, nice new smiley face. Ask some questions in the comments. I'll do my best to try and help you out in whatever way I can. If there's another topic that you want me to cover, feel free to ask that as well. I'll do my best to make a video like this. I personally really enjoy using the whiteboard because it helps me put my thinking in my brain to the board so I can explain it to you. And I'm not that great at video editing, so I can't just like put it on the video. Plus, the guy can show off a little bit of my plushies while I do this. We got a little Squirtle here. So, thanks guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.